Joel.
Effortless.
I'd say balanced.
Smooth, seamless.
Laid back.
Joel is, you know what, he actually reminds me of a teenage girl a lot. Very impatient.
Legend.
There's one guy kind of pretty true to himself. And, you know, he is what he is. There's no layers, you know, sub layers, and he's exactly what what you think he is.
He's the champ in all realms.
Just his whole, charisma, personality, mental. It's just, yeah, it's easy.
He's got the excitement of a kid, when the waves turn on, and it's funny for me, I'm like always trying to keep up with him. Anybody that works with him knows he's got ants in his pants, and so whenever he sees good waves, he better be ready, because he's going to be out there and surfing within about 2 minutes.
Very family orientated. Yeah, he's got some really good morals and principles. Yeah, nice guy.
He was always so happy out in the water. He's always having so much fun. It was so cool to watch because he would surf that good that he'd just be the funniest guy on land as well. So yeah, it was just really cool to grow up watching him.
He's just a legend all around, just an all around good guy.
I think Joel, people say you don't deserve things, you earn things. And I think he definitely earned this title, but he's still owed 2 more, I think, from the injuries he's had. I think it's going to be another big year next year, and personally I can see the floodgates opening, seeing at least another 1 or maybe 2 straight after this.
The fact now that monkey's off his back, now he's a bit freer. Mate, who knows? Stranger things have happened. He could go back to back.
The first time he really came to prominence is when we gave him the wild card for the Billabong at Jeffries. Yeah, and he ended up winning the contest. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Yeah, you've been aware of the guy for quite some time, I mean, he's pretty unique in the way that, and I'm sure he used to get well and truly underscored because he made everything look so easy and graceful. And but when you actually watch what he did, it was really impressive. Watching surfers for 50 odd years, and so you kind of see a lot of them, and you see a lot of them come and go, and a lot of them do things like manoeuvres or whatever, and don't look anything like what Joel looks like. They get there, but they don't do it with style or grace, and there's a big difference. If you measured, like how much wave surface he covers, it'd be probably a lot more than most people, or maybe anybody. The fact that he can get around out there and get back into the pocket and get back out again without getting hung up with, just really smoothly, really cleanly, and really aggressively is very impressive. There's always been a new generation, whatever, it comes and goes, That style of surfing, no, that doesn't come and go. And that's really clean, beautiful surfing. And maybe young kids of today are looking for something else, but, they're just young and foolish. They're just thinking of one-off maneuvers, and it's a package. You've got to link it all up, I mean, if you surf in Hawaii a lot, you'll come to realise that Hawaiian surfers were always looking for guys that were really functional, very aggressive, yet really smooth and with a lot of style. And that sort of surfing never died.
And then that set coming, the first one, I thought, these ones are too big. The second one kind of backed off and got into it. And you know, 9-5, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then, you know, I thought I had like a little bit of a lead on him, but then he'd come back, you know. I don't think you should ever think you got anything over Nick, so, you know, he come back and I was lucky to get the last one, and I'm pretty happy.
He's very balanced, you know, like you could use a lot of terms, you know, like he's very balanced with everything he does. He finds a happy medium and doesn't overdo things to any extent. Like he balances himself with his free surfing and how much he surfs, and if he gets too cooked surfing then he'll back off a bit. The same with his training. The easy thing for me is that he wanted to do it, and it's always easier if someone wants to do something. Like over the last 5 years, I could sit here right now and count on one hand how many times Joel's turned up to train and been half-arsed about it, or couldn't be bothered, or was kind of like, oh, you know, like he turns up with an intent. You know, if he's going to drive that 25 minutes every day to come up to the gym, he's turning up with intention to do what he's meant to do in there. So, you know, it's a true credit to himself, and there's some athletes that slide through the gates and get away with things, but he deserves every single thing he's ever achieved because he turns up to work and has an intention to achieve what his goals are. Molokai's kind of funny, like a lot of people are saying to me like, what are you doing? Like, are you kidding yourself? Like, this guy should not be doing this mid-year through the tour. And look, Molokai, I did it the year before. We did a doco around it. Joel watched the doco at Bell's, and I think he watched it on the Friday. The Sunday, he got knocked out in the semis. The Sunday night, we had a dinner with a group of friends of mine who have done the Molokai. I think 2 glasses of red, and he was like, I'm gonna do Molokai. And that was it, you know, it was his decision, and all I did was just support the decision, and we went off and did it. But now looking back, it was probably one of the better things we did throughout the year to take a healthy distraction away from it. And I think the big thing about Molokai, it taught Joel that you can't give up no matter what.
I first kind of started hanging with him. We went on a boat trip when wasn't long after I started at Tracks, and he must have been like 17, but it was him, Mick and Dino and a bunch of other guys. So I got to see his surfing at pretty close range. So I think he faded me like about 90 times on that trip. But it was clear, you know, like by that stage, at 17, yeah, he had an advanced style. A style that was just, it's what it is now. You know, it's refined a little bit since then, but it was just, that stuff's just God-given, you know, and he had it at an early age.
Joel Parkinson, I'm 18 years old and I live in Coolangatta in Australia, where it's right on top of Kira.
How would I describe Joel? If I was to describe him, I would say a prankster.
Okay, so I'm going to play a prank on the kid, Ian. We're going to play the fish prank. This thing's strapped to a belt. I'm going to jump in the water and swim out in the dark, and he's going to think he's finding the world's biggest fish. Let's see how it goes.
All right, off you go. Fish on, fish on, fish on. Pull it out of gear, pull it out of gear. We've got a fish on. Hey boys, we've got a fish on. Fish on, fish on, fish on. Who wants it? Who's up? Who's up? Quick, quick. I think it's a shark. Come on, come on. Let's go.
Who's reeling this in?
I think Ian's up.
Where is he?
He's coming now. Still on, I think it's still hooked.
Fish on. Come on.
It's still there, here. Whoa. Just pull up, pull the reel up and reel on the way down. Have to go. Go, 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 pull it up. Here you go, put this on. There you go, put it in there, sit it in there. Oh, he's trying to take more line.
Let him run, let him run.
Let him run. There you go. Come on, Ian, you nearly got him. You nearly got him. Look, there it is, look. There's light there, look, look. It's right there, mate. It's right there. Here it comes. Reel, 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 reel. It's coming, 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 coming. You caught a merman.
thing. What?
Got a big money, Parkos.
I should have came out of the water and did that.
Yeah.
Every single board that I shaped, I was thinking this could be the board that wins the world title. It was in my head anyway. You know, I always put everything into every board that I do, because I always believe that if you're not going to do it right, just don't even bother. There's no point turning up. One of my good mates who works for me, Paul Stacey, will probably agree with me there, because he wanted to kill me most days. Just about where my head was at with it all, you know, with every aspect of building those boards, you know, from machines, which he spent a lot of time making sure those things were spot on, and just walking around a factory making sure that laminators were doing exactly what they were doing, and everyone did put their effort in. So yeah, every board had that potential, and as it turned out, the board that actually did win the world title for him was a board from last year. Yeah.
Reading, got footholds. Goes left, goes right.
And it's solid, feels solid.
Sold on that one then.
You sold on that?
Sold.
Yeah.
Alright. Sold to a man. Whoa! Oh, hey! Yeah!
Talk about.
Yo.
Tight fit here, huh?
Yep.
Alright.
Yeah. Good? Really? You can run?
Can't run yet? Let's do it. Not too bad.
No, that's come back good. Really good.
Compared to the last?
Yeah.
Good idea, huh? Oh, there's my board. Sick.
Oh!
Ah, that's what I'm looking for. This one.
I got big. I got big.
This one from last year, huh?
Yep.
Made it. Ah, I don't want one of those for me.
Yeah, I've seen one somewhere.
Where? In the box?
I think so. He said he owned a couple. He told me he owned a couple.
These boxes.
This is my lucky little red. So no, I just love it everywhere I go. It comes with me. Stoked to get to ride it first surf, because if there was waves, you'd probably end up riding normal board. So it's good to ride a fun thing straight up and just enjoy it.
Well, the story for me was just, I was just venturing out, making something different to what, you know, you can make 6.2s, 6.3s, 6.1, 6.0s all day, every day, and it was good to do something different. There was actually a board before that I'd made, and Joel got back from somewhere and it was in the office, and he took it, was just ripping on it, absolutely ripping on it, and come back, and I'd made him, and because I knew that he'd like that thing, and I made him that one. Sprayed it up red for whatever reason. I don't even know. Ended up red and took it to Hawaii, you know, of all places. Because you get those days when it's flat and there's nothing doing, and he went out there and just tore it to bits on that thing, and I don't know, I think riding something like that just breaks away from the normality.
Andy hates me having this board because he sees how much I love it, how much fun I have on it. He probably hates me having any good board though.
I hate it. I got a green one that's the exact same on Kauai. Might be a little different, but I'm pissed that I don't have mine here. Of course, he had it out front and center in the middle of the living room so everyone could see it. But yeah, the red board's pretty sick. Willow grass is always green. I always look at everyone's boards like they're better. When I go to JS's, I think Bruce's are better, and his boards are way out of my size. Yeah, I don't know. Joel has the same dimensions as me, so it always seemed like they're a little better, for sure. But I'm gonna take a green 6.1 for sure. There's a 6.1 green one down there, 6.1.5. I'm taking it, guaranteed. It's gone. It's so gone.
This is my side of the garage of my boards. This is Andy's. Because I know he wants to steal my 6.1s and my 6.0s.
And I can just tell, I mean, I've got a lot of boards, but I know exactly what board he took it, and I know he'd ride it.
Let's have a look at his.
You always got to pick out the older one, I reckon. He always holds on to his good boards, so. Look at that. I don't think it'd suit me, but it'd really suit him, I think. He seems to be stealing more of my boards than I'm stealing his boards, though, for sure.
What's got
Really good pops.
You want to make sure they're all the way cooked, bro. Raw and pop you
Yeah, but some of them didn't pop too bad.
Yeah, now put them back on. There you go, buddy. Welcome to Hawaii.
Oh.
Kevin, can you go plate, please? Oh, you're hands full.
How's it?
So good to be back.
Supposedly they're good for your
This is
wiener.
what I love. I'll tell you what. We think Australians know how to barbecue, but Hawaiians barbecue pretty fucking good.
Surfer's paradise, I guess. Good waves, good food, the fishing, relaxation, which is kind of everything Joel likes, I guess. A memory that comes back is probably 09 again. He'd won snapper, he'd won bells, and we went into Tahiti, and he was coming off at, I guess it was 12, 13 heat wins he'd had, and he come up against Taylor Knox in round 3, and he was beaten. And I don't think he was really beaten by Taylor. It was Mother Nature that day. Taylor got a wave at the end, and that was kind of it. And that night we didn't really party, we just cruised. But the next day the finals were on, and instead of just hanging out and watching the contest, we went fishing. And of course there was a few beers that we took with us, and fished with Benny, the local fisherman on the island, and it turned into fishing, drinking, and then on the way home it was, I guess that competitive nature come out in Joel, and he's like, let's see who can jump out of the boat, Well, we're going as fast as we can, so he's telling Benny to they go faster on the way home. Yeah, I remember Joel jumping out at full speed, clothed and all. And Benny's doing the loop, we've gone to pick him up, and he's, as we've picked Joel up, he's climbed up on the boat and just slid into the boat, and he's on his side, slapping like a mahi-mahi, you caught me, you caught me.
Give me a mahi-mahi! We've caught a mahi-mahi!
And this is all while the final's going down, and he was he was so relaxed, and that's just his nature, he'd had a bad heat or whatnot, and he just went away and forgot what had happened and went and had some fun, and I think that's one of my good memories from Tahiti, the mahi-mahi.
Should've been these chicks jumping down the boat.
Jump in the water?
Oh yeah. The boat's just flying and Kel's just like, woo! Jump in.
Going high speed, we just jumped off. Shut up, you skimmed off? You guys skimmed it when Benny was hightailing it. Huh?
Nope. Johnny was fly or he can't have me.
Do you have your camera? Camera and water housing? Huh?
Nah. Just flying drunk, man. 24 back.
A case. You guys shake a case of beer?
Can you tell me what you really think of him?
What I really think of that big nose character?
Yes.
You ever heard of the Toucan Sam? Really good guy though.
I think Andy summed it up best, when he said it was heaven and hell and everything in between. Because it was like experiencing everything in life in 10 days.
Some say love is a burning thing. it makes the fire ring. Oh, but I know love as a fading thing, just as fickle as a feather in a string. See, honey, I saw love. You see, it came to me. It put its face up to my face, so
I was at first I was too scared to swim out at that spot, and I saw John Frank put on his wetsuit and go running down the cliff with his housing, and when I saw him do it, I was like, shit, I gotta just go. I didn't come all the way out here to stand on the beach, and so I walked out onto the shelf to jump into the keyhole, and I looked back, and Louie and Aki were giving the hand signal. They weren't giving me this, they were giving me that, which means go. And I just kind of ignored what was going on up here and jumped in the water and made it out really easily. And John and I were switching positions out there. He would get a shot, and then he'd swim behind me, and I would get a shot, and then he'd swim behind me. And Joel got that wave, and it was that was a surreal feeling, just because like it was the first 5 minutes of light, and it was such a big barrel. It was so pretty and perfect. And there's certain surfers, you know, that you like were as a kid, you were like, or as just when I first started shooting, I was like, man, I really want to get a good shot of this guy and that guy. And Joel was one of those guys, and I always wanted to get a photo that I had that photo in my head for a long time, you know. And when it happened, it was like it was a really amazing feeling.
Being on the beach, and I mean, I think I got a few fingernails left. There wasn't many left. Wes Berg and I looking at each other, you know, heat after heat.
The one against Kalani Chapman, the first heat, Kalani Chapman was all over the top of him. You know, Joel sat there and kept his ground and was like, there's no way this guy's getting between me and my dreams. And, you know, on to the next heat, and the heat against CJ was the same thing. Like, he held his ground, he did what he should have done, he was patient, he was persistent, and then the heat against Damo, like, he got the 2 scores in the last 6 minutes of the heat. Like, are you kidding me? How nerve-wracking that is to be on the beach.
It was pretty stressful. I mean, my mind was more like, please don't break this board.
We were just melting into the carpet. We were just like, it was horrible. Like, when he was behind at certain stages, we were just going, this is going to end in tears, this is going to be horrible. And then we got up to Kelly's. You know, Kelly was out in the water. If Kelly lost the heat, you know, the title was Joel's. And it was, for the first time that day, his old mate just pacing around like a cat.
When he was in the room and Kelly was in the semi against Kersey, I've never seen Joel act the way he did. And I think he even said in one of his interviews that he was in a feeling where he just couldn't control anything.
Pretty sure we were counting down from about 12 minutes. And it was the longest fucking 12 minutes of probably all of our lives.
5 minutes and 40 seconds. 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Is anyone catch your wave?
Kelly, the guy who can just dial up waves wherever he wants, and he's in a heat where it doesn't break for 20 minutes. It's like, that's a sign from above right there. And then he started, you know, he's pacing around, and Wes is sitting there giving time calls like every minute. He's going, what time is it, Wes?
5 to go. 5 from now.
It was funny because Mon had actually lit in the morning, little candle in the bedroom, and lit it for Andy, and to channel him in and bring him in for the day to help his mate out. And then the thing went out like, with a few minutes to go, and Kelly only needed an 8, and Joel saw that, and Joel's going, oh, he's just going, no, not now. Because it's like, it was a Slater script, just sitting there waiting to happen. You know, needing an 8, 2 minutes to go, otherwise the world is going to, well, of course there was going to be a way for Kelly, and it never happened. You know, the ocean went dead for 20 minutes at Pipe after a day where it pulsed. You know, It kind of made you think there were higher forces at work, definitely.